Yes, it's me, Benjamin Dover. No, not Ben. Not Benny. Not Big Ben. And definitely not. Hey, isn't that the guy whose name sounds like Ben Dover? Yeah, real original. You know how it feels to walk into a bank and watch the teller try not to choke on her own tongue while reading my name out loud? Or to get called out in an airport? Mr. Benjamin Dover, please report to TSA. Benjamin Dover. Mr. Ben. Cue laughter from the peanut gallery and one teenage boy trying to high-five me on the way to security. And no, I didn't come back because no other channel would make me a star. I'm not here because Ron, my so-called lawyer, refused to take my case. You know what Ron said when I asked him to sue the channel? Ben, sorry, Benjamin, you don't have a case. I like this channel. And no, I definitely did not return because a weird Mexican guy kept calling, asking about a soup recipe. I chose to return to this godforsaken circus of a narrative because deep down, under all the heartbreak, betrayal, and suspiciously frequent public humiliation, I actually missed you. Yeah, you, the people. Hashtag I love you listeners. Despite the fact that the writer of my life, that mysterious, sadistic, emotionally unstable typist behind the curtain, has decided that my life is a sitcom without a laugh track. Well, whatever. Now let's get on with my story. My wife, Kathy. Yes, it's always a Kathy, isn't it? Like, some government agency just hands you a wife and says, "Congratulations, sir. You've been assigned a Kathy. Here's your matching throw pillows and unresolved emotional tension." She's 29, I'm 31, and we've been married 6 years. Honestly, I thought we were doing all right. Not exactly a fairy tale. There were no singing birds or enchanted teacups dancing around our living room. But we weren't fighting all the time, or cheating, or screaming obscenities in IKEA like those truly elite couples. Sure, we had our stuff. Busy schedules. The occasional, who left the laundry in the washer again, debate. Some communication hiccups. And okay, maybe a few dry spells in the bedroom. You know, the kind where you both just sort of lie there. Two warm burritos of indifference, occasionally mumbling good night, and wondering vaguely if the other one has already fallen asleep or just doesn't care anymore. But marriage ending? Come on. I didn't think we were in DEFCON divorce territory. Anyway, it starts about 8 months ago. One night, Kathy comes to me with that super serious face. You know the one. I've been reading articles again face. I have memorized a paragraph from a relationship podcast, and now it is your turn to suffer face. She goes, I feel like you're emotionally unavailable. And I'm sitting there on the couch, probably mid-bite of leftover Chinese, thinking, huh? Me? Emotionally unavailable? I'm literally here. I'm available. I'm sitting on this couch. With you. In sweats. Eating lo mein. What more do you want? She gives me that look, like I'm missing the point, which, okay, fair. She says she feels disconnected, like we're roommates, not partners. And I'm just kind of staring at her, dumpling midair, going through a mental checklist. We still went on date nights. Okay, one in the last 2 months, but it counts. We still watched our dumb shows. We talked about work, groceries, who was hogging the blanket. I thought we were fine. Like, C+ marriage. Solidly passing. So I say, I'm sorry you feel that way. What can I do? And she says, I think we should try marriage counseling. Now look, I'm not one of those guys who thinks therapy is for broken people or that you have to punch drywall to communicate. I was like, sure, if that's what'll help, I'll do it. I figured we just needed someone to help translate. Like, Kathy speaks emotionese and I speak mildly confused, and we needed a bilingual referee. Someone to go? What he means is, he loves you but panicked because you changed the dinner plan last minute and his brain short-circuited. So we start looking for counselors together. Together. We're a team, remember? And then Kathy finds this guy online. Dr. Roger Stroker. Yup, Stroker. Insert all the jokes you want. I already made them. Internally. Quietly. While pretending to be mature. His reviews? Glowing. Like 5-star city glowing. Saved our marriage. Understood us better than we understood ourselves. Made me cry in a good way. So I'm like, okay, fine. Let's book the man. Stroker, help me. First session rolls around. We show up. Kathy's got her notepad. I've got my best open-minded but mildly skeptical face. Dr. Stroker looks like the kind of guy who drinks matcha out of a handmade mug and owns more than one vest. Session's chill. Just a get-to-know-you vibe. He asks questions. We both answer. Kathy talks more than me, which, fine, I figured was normal. She's the one who pushed for this, so of course she's got stuff to say. I tell Dr. Stroker that I just want to make things better between us. Honest to God, I was trying to play ball. But here's the thing. Right away I start getting this weird vibe. Like something's off. Dr. Stroker's eyes start zoning in on me like I'm the main course at a vegan potluck, and he's trying to figure out how to fix me with herbs and journaling. He keeps asking Kathy how my behavior makes her feel. And when Benjamin says that, Kathy, what do you feel in your body? Kathy, when Benjamin forgets to text back, what do you think that means about your relationship? Meanwhile, I'm sitting there like an unpaid extra in my own emotional autopsy. Anytime I opened my mouth to give context or, explain myself, it was like, let's circle back to that in a second. Kathy, keep going. And I swear, I barely got to explain myself. I'm not saying I'm a perfect husband. Hell no. I leave dishes in the sink sometimes. I forget which laundry pile is delicates. And once I may have referred to her best friend's wedding as that Pinterest fever dream. But I try. I show up. I hold her when she's sad. I remember her mom's birthday. And I let her pick the restaurant even when I know it's going to be kale-based punishment. But Dr. Stroker, St. Roger of the cozy chair, starts framing everything like I'm the poster child for emotional abandonment. Kathy, do you feel emotionally abandoned by Benjamin? And when he doesn't engage with your feelings, what does that trigger in you? And I'm sitting there like, bro, what? I literally just said I was tired, not that I was emotionally ghosting her into the void. Meanwhile, Kathy is over there nodding like he just read her a horoscope that nailed her entire identity. That makes so much sense, she whispers, like she just cracked the Da Vinci Code of my introversion. She's eating it up. Like candy. You know those reaction videos where someone tries chocolate for the first time? That was her, every time Stroker threw out one of his feely buzzwords. And then came the second session. More of the same. Dr. Stroker's voice is still this calm, low hum like he's narrating a National Geographic special. Here we see the emotionally undercooked male in his natural habitat, dodging vulnerability by discussing fantasy football. He keeps saying things like, these patterns usually form in childhood. And I swear, I brace for the couch to turn into a time machine. He starts poking around my past. What was your relationship with your parents like, Benjamin? I tell him, look, they weren't super affectionate. But it wasn't like I was raised by wolves in an abandoned warehouse. I turned out okay. I'm not out here kicking puppies or screaming at baristas for spelling my name wrong. He nods, then looks at Kathy like I just confessed to emotional arson. She gives him this look, like they're both suddenly professors at Benjamin University and they've just discovered a new species of dysfunction. I'm sitting there thinking, why do I feel like I'm failing a test I didn't know I was taking? And then comes session 3. That's when the man drops it. Like he's diagnosing a tumor. You show signs of deep emotional unavailability, likely rooted in unresolved parental attachment issues. I blinked. Like, excuse me, where's this diagnosis coming from? WebMD? Psychic Dream Journal? Did he find a secret diary I don't know about? So I say, look, I process stuff in my own way. Maybe I don't cry at sad movies, or do the whole vulnerability monologue in the rain thing, but that doesn't mean I don't feel things. I tell him, I care about Kathy. I just don't always know how to show it the way she wants. Which I thought was a pretty honest thing to admit, right? A big step. I was ready for at least a thank you for your vulnerability sticker or something. But no, Dr. Stroker cuts me off like I just hit a nerve with a butter knife. That's denial, he says. It's common with men in your position. My position? What is this, therapy or a game of chess? And I'm the emotionally constipated rook. I wanted to walk out right then. I mean, I really did. Like get up, knock over his tasteful stack of trauma books, and just bounce. But I didn't. I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. And I look over at Kathy, and she's nodding like she's finally getting proof that she's been right all along. After that third session, something shifted. Kathy came home that night practically glowing. Not in the I bought a new moisturizer way, but in the I just joined a very emotionally intense cult, and Dr. Stroker is our robe-wearing leader way. She walks in, throws her purse down, and goes. Dr. Stroker helped me see that I need more emotional support in my life. Which sounds fine, right? Reasonable even. Until she turned to me with this look like I was a walking emotional pothole, just blocking her spiritual growth highway. Suddenly, everything became a test. She'd say things like, can you admit that you have deep-rooted emotional trauma? And I'd just blink at her like, I mean, I cried during Coco, does that count? But she wasn't kidding. Apparently, I couldn't be a proper husband unless I did the work. Me. What work? I vacuum. I take the bins out. I ask about your day. I hug. I don't scream. I don't cheat. I don't gaslight you unless forgetting the laundry counts. I thought we were doing okay. But no. According to this new Kathy, every sentence I said was emotionally dismissive. Every yawn was disengaged. Every sandwich I made was probably some metaphor for emotional neglect. I couldn't win. I breathe. Too emotionally unavailable. I blink weird. Avoidant attachment style. I watch a Marvel movie instead of that documentary about childhood trauma. Clearly I'm running from my feelings. And then, oh boy, then comes the twist. Dr. Stroker, in all his candle-scented wisdom, suggests Kathy start doing individual sessions. With him. Just her. I was like, isn't that kind of weird for a couples counselor? And Kathy's like, no, it's normal. He says sometimes one partner needs solo work to unpack the stuff the other person caused. Cue me, standing there like I just got slapped with a brick of kale. Let that sink in. The same guy who spent 3 sessions psychoanalyzing my socks is now going to help her unpack my crimes, which apparently include being tired after work and not crying during rom-coms. Now she's doing weekly one-on-one therapy with him. And that's when things really start to spiral. She gets colder. Like Elsa on a mountain cold. She stops asking me how my day went. Doesn't even look at me during dinner. She acts like she's a saint for still being married to me. Like I'm some emotionally constipated charity case, and she's just too noble to walk away yet. Every time I try to talk to her, like really talk, about us, about fixing this, she hits me with the greatest hits of therapy speak. I'm learning to set boundaries. You're not entitled to my emotional labor. This is about me healing, not you feeling comfortable. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Apologize for breathing too neutral? I felt like I was being slowly erased from my own marriage. Like I was now this cardboard cutout husband whose job was to hold space for her emotional glow-up under the all-seeing gaze of Dr. Stroker, emotional wizard extraordinaire. And I wanted to believe, God, I wanted to believe, it was just a phase. That maybe after a few sessions, she'd snap out of it, and we'd laugh about it later over wine. But deep down, something wasn't right. The guy who was supposed to help us fix our marriage felt like he was playing a totally different game. And I was the poor sap who didn't realize we were already in the final round. And losing. Badly. After that 3rd session, I just knew. Something was off. This wasn't therapy. This was some kind of emotionally weaponized game show. Welcome to Kathy and Dr. Stroker versus the emotionally stunted husband. Every week, it felt less like counseling and more like I was being put on trial. And not a normal trial either. Some weird kangaroo court where I'd already been found guilty and the judge was handing out tissues to the prosecution. I'd walk into that office thinking, okay, maybe today we'll actually talk about our marriage. Wrong. So wrong. So cosmically, spiritually, comedically wrong. 4th session. I sit down. Dr. Stroker doesn't even bother with the fake pleasantries. Doesn't ask, how are you feeling today, Benjamin? Or how's your week been? Nope. Straight to Kathy. How did your husband's behavior make you feel this week? Bro, I'm sitting right here. You gonna acknowledge me? Or just keep treating me like I'm a hologram with unresolved daddy issues? Kathy launches into a 20-minute monologue about how I didn't hug her after she came home late from work. Like, 11 p.m. late. And how I forgot to ask her about a meeting she briefly mentioned once while brushing her teeth on a Tuesday. She starts tearing up, saying, it's like I don't matter. He doesn't even try. And I'm just sitting there like, wait, what? Hold on. You came home, said, I'm tired, didn't even take your shoes off, and went straight to bed. You didn't even make eye contact. What was I supposed to do? Chase you down the hallway with a Hallmark card and a marching band? I try to explain that. Calmly. I even used my nice voice. And Stroker, oh, of course, he nods all slow and serious and says, do you hear how defensive you're being right now? That's a classic avoidance mechanism. Avoidance mechanism? What next? He gonna say my sock choices are rooted in abandonment trauma? That's when I really started getting pissed. Because no matter what I said, no matter how calm, logical, or mildly caffeinated, it got twisted into proof of my emotional failure. If I said I was confused, that's deflection. If I asked a question, that's invalidating Kathy's truth. Her truth. Not the truth. Her truth. Because apparently truth now comes in customizable flavors. And Kathy? Oh man, she was loving it. Every time he said something about my emotional detachment, she'd nod like he just read her a beautiful sonnet about her personal growth. I started noticing stuff outside of the sessions too. Like, way too much Stroker talk. Every sentence she said started with, Dr. Stroker says. Dr. Stroker helped me realize. Dr. Stroker thinks I need to listen to my inner child. And I'm over here like, cool. Can we also listen to your husband who's sitting 2 feet away and still trying to hold this mess together with duct tape and leftover love? I try to be real with her. I'd say, can we figure this out together? Isn't that why we started this whole thing? And she'd look at me with this pitying, condescending smile, the kind you give to someone trying to open a push door by pulling, and say, Dr. Stroker said I need to prioritize my healing. And then came the solo sessions. That's when things went from just weird to full-blown sketchy, like they should be hiding this in a Nicholas Sparks novel level of sketchy. Kathy started seeing Dr. Stroker, alone, every Thursday evening. Like clockwork. Therapy Thursdays, baby. And every time she came back, she had this smug, glassy, glazed donut look in her eyes, like she'd just had a spiritual awakening and a foot massage from the Buddha himself. She stopped asking me about anything. Didn't touch me. Didn't hug me. Didn't even bump shoulders by accident. She talked to me like I was some coworker she barely tolerated. You know, the one who always reheats fish in the microwave. So one night, I asked, real gentle. Gentle like I'm approaching a deer in the woods with a granola bar. Hey, is this solo therapy helping you? You seem different lately. She looked me dead in the eyes, no hesitation, like she was reciting a line from the Book of Stroker, and says, I'm finally learning what healthy emotional boundaries are. And I'm just standing there blinking like a malfunctioning Roomba. What does that even mean? I wasn't yelling. I wasn't controlling her. I wasn't doing anything crazy. I'm just a dude trying to navigate his marriage without needing a glossary of trauma-informed buzzwords. But somehow, I'd become the villain in this weird indie play she was performing in her head. Kathy, the emotionally reborn heroine, and me, the mustache-twirling husband who once forgot to validate her feelings about curtain rods. Then she starts setting boundaries. Out of nowhere. Like she just got back from an emotional fencing class and had a new set of rules taped to her soul. You're not allowed to text me during solo sessions. I don't want to cuddle anymore. It makes me feel emotionally smothered. You can't ask me where I'm going unless I volunteer it. I mean, what? I'm not asking for her social security number. I just want to know why she's disappearing for hours every Thursday wearing her therapy boots. So one time, I ask, calmly, like an adult, where are you going? And she hits me with, see? You're proving Dr. Stroker right. Dude, I'm not some insecure control freak. I'm not tracking her phone or interrogating her like I'm a detective on NCIS, Emotional Edition. I just wanted to know what the hell was going on in my own house. Then we stopped having dinner together. She'd either eat in her office, with the door closed, like I'm going to burst in there holding a fork and a printed list of my emotional shortcomings, or she'd say, oh, I already ate with a friend. A friend. From a support group. Whatever that means. That's like saying, I went to Narnia with someone I met on Reddit. Then one night, she comes home late again. Past 10 p.m. She walks in with that glazed look and a faint scent of eucalyptus. I ask, totally calm, hey, were you at therapy that whole time? And she snaps, real sharp. Yeah. But she said it defensively, like I'd accused her of robbing a gas station. So I go, isn't that kind of long for a therapy session? And boom, she goes full fire-breathing enlightenment dragon. You don't get to question the process just because it makes you uncomfortable. Uncomfortable? Uncomfortable? Lady, I am getting emotionally waterboarded in my own living room with your therapy jargon while you slowly detach from our marriage like it's a bad Wi-Fi connection. And somehow, I'm supposed to just smile, nod, and thank her for being brave enough to grow. I started keeping track. Not because I'm a lunatic, mind you, but because someone in this house had to keep a grip on reality. I had a little notebook, nothing fancy, just a basic spiral one with a sad little coffee stain that felt oddly symbolic. I wrote stuff like, Thursday, left at 6:12 p.m., returned at 9:47 p.m., smelled like eucalyptus and regret. That kind of thing. It helped me feel grounded, which is ironic, considering I was apparently the one who struggled with control issues. But it wasn't just the late nights or the cold shoulder anymore. Something felt physical, like the kind of vibe you get when you walk into a room and someone's just turned off the TV a little too fast, and suddenly you're wondering what kind of channel requires that level of urgency. Only in this case, the TV was my wife, and the remote control was Dr. Freakin' Stroker. Still, I kept second-guessing myself. I mean, Kathy wouldn't, right? Not with him. Not with our therapist. That's like betrayal with a side of malpractice. But the moment I even suggested we might try seeing a different counselor, maybe one who didn't seem like he wanted to cast me as the antagonist in Kathy's emotional emancipation monologue, she lost it. Kathy, the only reason you want a new therapist is because he makes you uncomfortable with the truth. Me? No. The only reason I want a new therapist is because ours sounds like he ends every sentence with, or does he? But no, that made me avoidant. Avoidant. Like, God forbid I didn't enjoy being psychoanalyzed with the warmth of a DMV line. I didn't need a cheerleader. I just wanted someone who wasn't clearly rooting for the other team like it was the Super Bowl of emotional growth, and I was the cautionary tale. And meanwhile, Kathy's phone? It became her new best friend. Always giggling at texts, smiling like a high school girl with a crush, and the moment I got near, click, locked like Fort Knox. Oh, and the password changed, by the way, just in case I thought about getting curious. Which, of course, made me the problem again. Why don't you trust me? She'd ask. Like I was the one sneaking off to 3-hour therapy sessions with a man who unironically calls himself Stroker. Me? Hey, Kath, you're smiling a lot at that screen. Her? I'm in a support group chat. Me? What kind of support group sends flirty emojis at 10:45 p.m.? Her. The kind that supports me healing from your need to question everything. Great. Now emojis were triggering. And me? I was in the guest room, sleeping next to a humidifier and a pile of laundry, wondering if I'd been emotionally evicted from my own marriage. The bed we used to share? Now her healing cocoon. Apparently cuddling is toxic, and I'm some kind of intimacy pollutant. I mean, damn, I didn't realize being affectionate was such a crime. Meanwhile, she's out there building boundaries like she's running a construction site. And through it all, I still cared. I still wanted to fix it. But every time I tried, I felt like a shadow in my own house. Like I was slowly being ghosted while technically still breathing. And all of it, started with therapy. We just wanted to smooth out a few things. Patch a leak or two. But Dr. Stroker? Oh no. He came in like, why fix a crack when you can tear the whole place down and sell the land to your ego? And Kathy? She bought into it like it was a timeshare in emotional clarity. By the time I realized what was happening, I wasn't a partner anymore. I was a case study, a warning sign, a guest appearance in a TED Talk titled, How I Learned to Love Myself and Loathe My Husband. Now she had healing, empowerment, boundaries, and a brand new bedtime story that didn't include me. And Dr. Clipboard? Oh, he was front and center, with his calm voice, affirmations, and a whole bunch of creepy smiles. So yeah, I come home early one night. Team dinner gets canceled last minute because apparently Brad from marketing can't keep gluten out of the group menu. And I think, hey, maybe a quiet night in for once. But no, I open the front door and immediately hear the voice. You know the one. Kathy's, I'm reclaiming my narrative voice. She's upstairs pacing our bedroom like it's a TED Talk stage, and I catch bits and pieces because the doors cracked open just enough to hear the emotional fireworks. And then I hear it. I didn't even realize how abusive it was until Dr. Stroker helped me unpack it. I froze. Just stood there in the hallway like someone hit pause on my body. Abusive? She was talking about me, about our marriage, like I was some wife-beating, beer-chugging lunatic who screams at microwaves. Meanwhile, I'm downstairs holding a reusable grocery bag and still feeling bad about accidentally spoiling the finale of The Crown 2 months ago. And she kept going. It's just been so hard reclaiming my power and creating a safe space. Safe space. Lady, this is a 3-bedroom house in a cul-de-sac. The most dangerous thing in here is the expired bottle of ranch in the fridge that you refuse to throw out. So I push the door open, not kick it or anything, just a regular, hey, what's up? Moment. She snaps around like I've breached national security. And she hangs up. Mid-sentence. No, bye, no, hold on. Just click. Turns to me like she's caught doing something shady and says, it was personal. No kidding, Sherlock. So I ask, real calm, I swear, who were you talking to? She rolls her eyes and mutters, a friend. Okay, fine. I let it go for a second, but then I go, what did you mean by abusive? And she looks me dead in the eye and says, emotional neglect is abuse. Dr. Stroker explained that. At that point, my brain just evacuated the building. I wanted to scream, Kathy, if me forgetting to buy oat milk counts as abuse, then we need to call in the damn Hague. But I didn't scream. I didn't shout. I just walked out. Because when you're one sarcastic comment away from turning into a viral courtroom meme, it's best to retreat. Next day, she emails me. We live in the same house. Same Wi-Fi. Same toothpaste. And she emails me. Subject line, healthy boundaries for shared growth. I swear I thought it was spam at first. She wrote out a list. Not even a paragraph. Bullet points. Like she's doing a PowerPoint on how not to be a husband. And some of the gems? I will no longer tolerate passive-aggressive behavior such as sighing, groaning, or heavy breathing. Oh, cool. So I'm on respiratory probation now. You must knock before entering shared spaces if I am using them for emotional processing. Shared spaces. Like our living room is now a restricted zone, and I need a wristband and security clearance to get to the couch. I do not owe you affection or conversation if it disrupts my healing. Healing from what, Kathy? Me folding the laundry wrong. But hey, I'm a grown man. I'm mature. I try to be reasonable. So a week later, I sit down at our shared desktop computer, the one in the office nook that still has a live, laugh, love mousepad, and I log in. Just to check on our joint taxes. Just to be responsible. To get something, anything, back under control. And that's when the universe decided to go full Shakespearean tragedy on me. I opened the browser, and boom. Right there, front and center like fate was just done playing subtle, her email inbox. Now, I didn't go snooping. Let's be clear. This was not a deep dive into her digital diary. She simply forgot to log out. Left the tab open like she wanted the universe to catch her. And there it was, an email thread between her and Dr. Stroker. But this wasn't, here's your breathing exercise worksheet, or let's revisit your attachment style. No. This was full-on, Nicholas Sparks-level word adult movies. I read one line and nearly threw the monitor out the window. You deserve to be cherished every day, not analyzed like a broken machine. Cherished. My dude said cherished. I actually laughed out loud at that one, in that hollow, unhinged, am I the main character of a Netflix series now kind of way. And her reply? You make me feel seen in a way I've never experienced before. Oh, give me a break. Scene? Like, Netflix recommendation level scene? Tarot card scene? Seen through? Because I can guarantee the only thing I'm seeing is my entire marriage circling the drain while she's writing flirty haikus to the man we literally paid to glue us back together. My stomach dropped so hard, I thought I was about to throw up on our tax forms. I actually had to sit down because everything suddenly made too much sense. The long sessions that somehow needed follow-ups at wine bars, the mysterious, healing walks, the glow she had when she said his name like she was whispering a damn prayer, and the way she defended him every time I so much as raised an eyebrow, like she was his lawyer, his publicist, and his #1 fan club president all in one. So I did something I swore I'd never do. Something that made me question if I was crossing a line. But honestly, the line had already been set on fire and danced on by both of them at this point. I installed a tracker app on her phone. Nothing fancy, just a little breadcrumb trail to confirm what I already knew but needed written in GPS coordinates. I didn't even plan to use it long, just enough to prove to myself that I wasn't crazy. And guess what? Thursday night rolls around. 5 o'clock sharp, she leaves for therapy. Says it just like that too, with that little peaceful smirk like she's off to float in a candlelit salt bath. 7:15 p.m. rolls around. Do the math, and she's still in therapy, right? Wrong. Guess where her phone pings from? A steakhouse. Not just any steakhouse, the steakhouse. The one with the overpriced bone-in ribeyes and truffle butter that we used to go to for our anniversaries. You know, back when she still pretended she liked being married to me. That same night, she strolls in around 9:30, all serene and glowing like she just got spiritually exfoliated by Buddha himself. I try to play it cool. I go, hey, how was therapy? She sighs like some enlightened yoga monk and says, Dr. Stroker really helped me see that I'm finally free. I'm standing there holding a glass of orange juice, and suddenly, I feel like it's poison. Free from what exactly? The patriarchy? Me? Our dog? Our shared Netflix password? Right then, I knew I had to stop playing the role of suspicious husband and start channeling my inner FBI. I needed proof. Cold, hard, undeniable. Go ahead and try to lie your way out of this evidence. So next Thursday, I make a plan. I tell her I've got a late meeting. Yes, the classic one we all use when we want plausible deniability. I pack a small bag, toss in some snacks, because stakeouts require snacks, and leave the house an hour early. I drive out near Dr. Stroker's office and park across the lot like some low-budget Jason Bourne. Got my phone camera ready, set to snitch mode. 6:45 p.m. Here she comes, floating out the front door like she just solved inner peace. And right behind her, him, Dr. Friggin Stroker, in all his smug, sweater-wearing glory. They're laughing, standing way too close. And then, brace yourself. He reaches out and brushes her hair behind her ear. Her ear, the most unnecessarily romantic move in the entire human playbook. And then she leans in and kisses him. Not a peck, not a flirty giggle. A full-on, in public, we're starring in our own Hallmark movie kind of kiss. Meanwhile, I'm in my car gripping my phone like it's the last Dorito on earth, hands shaking, filming it all like I'm about to win a Pulitzer. And then they get in his car together. I follow them. Yup, stalker mode, activated. Do I care? No. Morality packed its bags and left the chat 2 weeks ago. They drive to his house. His actual house. Because why not top off the cliché Sunday with a scoop of this can't be real life? I park a few blocks away like a weirdo and wait. 1 hour. No movement. Lights on. Curtains drawn. Probably burning sage and doing naked trust falls. Who knows? I drive home in silence. Nothing on the radio. Just the sound of betrayal simmering in my chest like a pot of chili left on high. Next morning, she breezes in around 8 a.m., hair a little tousled, Starbucks cup in hand like she just had a sleepover with her gal pals. I look up from my toast. She goes, I stayed at Miranda's. I was too emotionally drained to drive. I nod. Just a little nod. Didn't even blink. But inside, something flipped. The grief, off. The denial, off. That faint, pathetic whisper of maybe we can fix this. Dead. Done. And what came next? Cold planning. Focus. Precision. I was going to ruin both of them. So yeah, after that magical Thursday evening, where I got the exclusive front row view of my wife making out with the man whose job was literally to prevent that exact scenario, something in me just flipped. Like a switch. You know that quiet, cold-blooded calm you hear about in crime documentaries? Yeah, that. I wasn't sad anymore. I wasn't even angry in the scream into a pillow while Nickelback plays kind of way. I was laser-focused. Mechanical. Zen, even. Like a calculator wearing a hoodie. And the more I thought about it, the more it hit me. This wasn't just cheating. No. Cheating is when your partner hooks up with a coworker at a hotel bar during a conference. This was therapeutic espionage. This was weaponized therapy, loaded with buzzwords like boundaries, processing, and healing, while Dr. Stroker was out here assigning positions instead of homework. This dude didn't just take my wife. He Jedi mind tricked her into believing I was the final boss of emotional suppression, and then helped her craft the narrative where she was the brave hero escaping my dark masculine energy, or whatever spiritual Pinterest quote they're basing this affair on. So I did what any man with a bruised ego and high-speed internet would do. I went full nerd mode. Deep research. I'm talking tabs on tabs on tabs. I haven't researched this hard since college, when I had to write a 15-page paper on the Iliad without actually reading the Iliad. And what did I find? Oh, just a little thing called ethics law. Turns out that when a licensed therapist decides to play tonsil tennis with an active client, the state doesn't exactly give them a gold star. Nope. It's not just frowned upon. It's grounds for having your license yeet ed into the sun. Specifically, if the relationship starts while therapy is still active, or within 2 full years after it ends. 2 years. Not 2 weeks. Not 2 Thursdays and a feelings journal. 2 calendar years. And guess what? They don't just shrug and say, oh well, love is love. No, they take this stuff very seriously. So seriously, in fact, they've got an actual hotline to report therapist misconduct. Anonymous or not. Like a snitch line for emotional malpractice. So now my gears are turning. I've already got the video, right? Dr. Roger, boundaries are optional, Stroker making out with Kathy in the wild, timestamped and geotagged right outside his office. But that wasn't enough. I needed proof that they were still in an active therapist-client relationship while he was out here whispering affirmations into her mouth. Enter our joint insurance portal. God bless laziness. Kathy never changed the login. Same password since 2017. B1G Bang fan. And she hated that show. The irony is delicious. And there it all was. Every therapy session, every date, every billing code. Listed, documented, tidy little evidence trail. And lo and behold, guess who was still submitting claims as Kathy's official mental health provider? That's right, Dr. freaking Stroker. Even after I saw them playing tongue hockey in the parking lot. Even after she came home glowing like she just did a trust fall into enlightenment. The latest claim? Literally last week. So he's still pretending she's a patient while they're probably Netflix and chilling on his couch, eating organic popcorn and whispering sweet nothings like, tell me how that makes you feel, babe. Idiot. If he had 2 brain cells to rub together, he might have at least stopped filing insurance claims. But no, Dr. Freud light over here thought he could bill Blue Cross while banging my wife. Next step, receipts. Literal ones. Because hell hath no fury like a husband with access to the joint bank account. Kathy hadn't moved her direct deposits out yet. Lazy villain behavior, rookie mistake, and I started noticing a pattern. Thursday nights. Every damn Thursday. Charges at different restaurants, bars, cafes. Meanwhile, Kathy's telling me, we had an intense double session. We're digging deep into childhood trauma. Digging deep into what exactly? His pants? So now I'm in minor espionage mode, and I decide to do something I wasn't proud of. Okay, a little proud. I called one of the restaurants. Put on my best fake cheerful voice and pretended I was doing a customer satisfaction survey. Hi, I'm just calling to confirm a recent guest experience and gather a bit of feedback. You know, like a friendly psychopath. The guy on the phone was like, oh yeah, Dr. Stroker and his wife are here every Thursday. Real sweet couple. They always split the flourless chocolate cake. His wife. I almost choked on my own spit. This man wasn't just unethically involved with a patient. He was walking around introducing Kathy like they were auditioning for a Subaru commercial. Meanwhile, I was at home watching reruns of The Office and wondering why my marriage smelled like sandalwood and betrayal. Anyway, that was the moment I pivoted from suspicious husband to digital librarian of doom. I compiled everything. Screenshots of their emails. Oh yes, I went back and combed through every line of "you make me feel seen" and "you deserve to be cherished," like I was decoding a spy ring. Every insurance claim. The video of them playing tongue hockey in the parking lot. The restaurant charges. I timestamped it all, labeled the files like a damn detective. Exhibit A, lusty therapist. Exhibit B, insurance fraud Thursdays. I backed it up to cloud storage and a flash drive, because if I've learned anything from true crime documentaries, it's that you always make backups. Step 2, complaint. A full, Detailed report to the State Therapy Board. I wrote it like I was submitting to Harvard Law Review. Names, dates, receipts, screenshots, even a timeline that would make a Netflix docuseries jealous. I included how he manipulated our couple's therapy, how he slowly shifted things so Kathy had solo sessions, how he painted me as controlling while he slid in as the safe space. A real white knight with a clipboard. Step 3. Drop the hammer. I didn't tell Kathy a thing. Played it cool, not cheerful, because come on, even I can't act that well, but robotic enough that she thought I was finally accepting her truth, or whatever woo-woo phrase Dr. Stroker had fed her. Meanwhile, I was just marking days on the calendar, waiting for that glorious reckoning. And 2 weeks later, boom, email lands in my inbox. From the State Licensing Board. Subject line: Investigation opened, therapist conduct review. Oh my God. I nearly printed it out, framed it, and hung it over the fireplace. A week after that, I did my usual morning routine: coffee, toast, petty revenge. I checked the State Therapy Board's website, like I had been doing obsessively every day, not that I'm proud of it. And there it was, in plain Helvetica: license status, under review, complaint pending. Ding dong, the Stroker's toast. But nah, that wasn't enough. Not even close. This dude didn't just violate ethical standards. He turned my personal tragedy into his personal rom-com, like he was Matthew McConaughey in How to Lose a Husband in 10 Sessions. Nah, buddy, I wasn't done. So I kicked it up a notch. Turns out our very own Roger Stroker had a whole second act going. Workshops, seminars. He called them healing summits, like some kind of discount Tony Robbins, but with more cardigans and less morality. He had a YouTube channel full of inspirational garbage, a blog where he posted things like 10 ways to rekindle your marriage flame, and he even sold online courses with cringy names like soul alignment through vulnerability. Well, wouldn't you know it? Those platforms all had contact forms. So I wrote the most polite nuclear email you've ever seen. No caps lock, no exclamation points, just cold, hard evidence with a side of disappointment. Something like, "Dear whoever you are, I'm writing to inform you that Dr. Roger Stroker, who currently offers courses and media through your platform, is under investigation for professional misconduct by the State Therapy Board. He initiated a romantic relationship with a client, my wife, during active therapy. Please find attached video evidence, insurance billing records, and a formal complaint acknowledgement from the State Board. I thought you should be aware. I didn't even sign it sincerely. I signed it regards." Which, if you know, is basically the email version of a middle finger in a tuxedo. And just like that, dominoes. His website, offline. Healing Summit, canceled. Promo sponsors, 2 of them publicly dropped his ass like a hot potato with boundary issues. The dude's brand went from empathic professional healer to cautionary tale with a weird beard. Meanwhile, Kathy, clueless. She thought it was all just bad karma. She came home one night, slamming her purse on the counter, ranting like a drunk TED Talk. "They don't understand what we have, Ben. The world's just so judgmental. They're crucifying him because he dared to love me." I just sipped my coffee and deadpanned. "Need help unpacking your emotional burdens? I hear it's therapeutic." She blinked, didn't say another word the whole night. I think that's when she started suspecting something. But by then, I was already working on the final boss level, divorce. Filed it the next morning. Boom. All the receipts attached like confetti. Insurance fraud? Check. Ethical violations? Check. Parking lot tongue fencing video? Oh, you know that made the highlight reel. And in my state, infidelity plus professional misconduct? That's like finding a golden ticket in your cheating spouse's purse. The court doesn't just frown on it. They basically hand you spousal support and say, "Go treat yourself, king." Then came the waterworks. For the first time in months, Kathy showed up crying, mascara streaked like she was auditioning for a sad clown funeral. "You're destroying my future," she sobbed. I stayed calm, robotic, maybe even a little smug. "I didn't destroy anything, Kathy. You handed your heart to a fraud with a therapy license and let him tear apart our marriage under the disguise of emotional healing. And I swear to God, if looks could kill, I'd be dead, buried, and ghosting her from the afterlife." She tried to say she didn't cheat. It wasn't cheating, Benjamin. What we had, me and Dr. Stroker, it was real. Oh, real? Well, slap me with a DSM-5 and call it a diagnosis. I didn't realize real now means sleeping with our marriage counselor while I was busy journaling about trust. So I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Oh, it's real all right. Real unethical. Real gross. Real likely to end up in a disciplinary hearing and real cheating on your husband." That shut her up faster than a therapy session with a stopwatch. And let me tell you, seeing her face change, like she just realized she wasn't the misunderstood heroine